Hello everyone, this is going to be super quick because I've got to go out before the massive day of trials begins. If you're following the Sarah Boone case, Sarah is going to testify today. The state are going to rest their case, they've got to finish one witness, they're resting, and then Sarah is on the stand, estimated around 10 to 10:30 a.m. Eastern. So if you're at all interested in the Sarah Boone case, I will be live streaming that on Michelle Walks from 1:45 p.m. my time, which is 8:45 a.m. Eastern. If you're following the Leilani Simon case, I will be streaming that on this channel. Anyway, what I want to talk about is Delphi. I was shocked to the point of absolute incredulity. Is that a word? Those watching my live stream, I don't even know which channel I was talking to, but when the news came in about the unspent round, I was shocked. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. So we're going to talk very briefly about day 3 of the Delphi trial. Take it away, Andy.
It's time for you guys to start being journalists.
Before an angry Andrew Baldwin left the courthouse, 13 News overheard him speaking to Richard Allen's wife, saying, "It ain't over. The world's watching. The world sees what's going on."
When Andrew Baldwin, back in October of 2023, said, it's time for you journalists to start being journalists, he was not kidding. This investigation was rotten to the core. At best, it was completely incompetent. I think incompetent encompasses the majority of the situation here. So it was a day of CSI witnesses, crime scene photos, 42 crime scene photos being shown, which I think has dominated the mainstream media, and somewhat rightly, because, it is brutal, it's horrible, the families were there viewing them, people were crying, the jury was shocked. I get why mainstream media went with the shocking nature of the crime scene photos. And there are some pieces of interest that has come out. I've listened to Andrea Burkhart, I've listened to Defence Diaries. Those are the only two that I've listened to who were in the courtroom so far. Oh, actually, Criminality had Julie Melvin on. I've also listened to that. She was in the courtroom as well. And just kind of summarising what they've said, the blood spatter or the blood patterning on the bodies was interesting. Libby being nude, it was easy to see the blood pattern on her body, and her throat was slit, but the blood seemed to have gone upwards on her face. So that means she must have had her head down at some point. So was she sitting or standing when she had her throat slit? And that's why it's on her feet, because she stumbled forward and then she went head down. And then she was moved to her final spot. She must have been head down at some point for the blood to go from her neck upwards, like across her face. However, despite the unusual patterning and the blood on trees and stuff, they didn't bother getting a blood spatter expert to assess that scene until just a few months ago, when the defence started sniffing around, saying that this is intentional, this is, the F tree, it's an ordinist, ritualistic thing. That's when the state decided to get a blood spatter expert, but not before. No, didn't even bother to do that before. The things that interest me specifically are things like chain of custody, and I'm not sure that the jury, based on what I've heard, I'm not sure the jury it kind of really hit home too. I don't know, I wasn't there. I can't see the jury's faces. We wouldn't see the jury's faces even if it was televised. But I hope at least some of the jurors appreciate just how important chain of custody is. So when a CSI person is on the stand and says, no, it doesn't matter that unspent round that was found on the 14th, so at least we know it was found in the first crime scene investigation. But when you're told that, no, you don't photograph things at the scene, is absolute, complete nonsense. I mean, that was just the opinion and the experience of one person. But, you know, when you get the FBI doing an investigation, they photograph everything. Everything. So, apparently, there is just one photo of that unspent round in the ground, and it was covered by leaves, and it seemed to be like tipped down. So if it had been extracted from a weapon, then it would fall tipped down, wouldn't it? But there's just one photo. So it was during their alternative light source testing. So they're looking for blood and blood spatter and stuff. And something was like glittering in the leaves, and they investigated that, and it was the unspent round. But there's a picture of it in the ground as it was found, then nothing, until they got to the forensic lab. So we've got no idea whether that's the same unspent round. We've got no idea of that chain of custody. So it could have been switched. Guys, the idea is to photograph it in the ground, photograph it being taken out of the ground, photograph it once it's out of the ground, and then photograph it on scene with it being in an evidence bag with the label on it to say this is a piece of evidence. And then the same evidence bag is in the forensic lab. And you do it all again there in reverse. Tell me I'm wrong. But no, according to this CSI witness, they don't do that. Well, they should do that. The defence was right when they mentioned in the Franks last September, Franks 1, that there's no chain of custody for this unspent round. That should not even be evidence in the trial. I can't believe it. It's unbelievable. I was like, wow. Everything that the defence said that people didn't believe is turning out to be true. That's all I can say. Now, the other thing, slide marks were found. So on the south side of the bridge where the girls were, when the man, bridge guy, whoever, said, guys down the hill, we still don't have an answer, by the way, about the defence's motion that they put in yesterday morning to allow the jury to see the original video, the 43-second video, the video and the audio that Libby took on her phone. But what the defence don't want the prosecution to show is an enhanced version of a witness testifying as to what's being said, and then it all being played on a loop. They should be playing the full original video, and they could play that several times, and the jury should decide what is being said. So we don't know what Judge Gull is gonna order on that. I can imagine it's deny. Anyway, there's slide marks. So on the south side, I couldn't really work out exactly where, other than it's on the south side as you go down the hill. But one of the searchers, he was one of the law enforcement from Delphi PD, who was off duty, but he went in when he found out the girls were missing. And around midnight, I think, he found some slide marks. But that wasn't investigated further. He told someone, but as far as he knows, it wasn't investigated further. Now, look, if I was searching in that area and I saw slide marks going down a steep hill, I would have thought, well, you know, at the time, they weren't investigating this as a murder. They were investigating this as a double missing child case. I would have thought, well, what if the girls got here and they slid, they fell down the hill and they're injured and unconscious at the bottom of the hill? Wouldn't you go down and have a look? But no. Now, look, that could have been the girls and the killer sliding down the hill. How do you keep control of two girls when you're sliding down a hill? Anyhow, it could have been that, and that's the state's position on it. Or it could have been anybody. Those slide marks could have been one of the searchers who'd started to go down and thought, no, this is too steep. I'm not going to go down. So in my opinion, that's inconclusive. But obviously the state wants the jury to believe that's where the girls and the killer went down the hill. Could well be, but just as likely, in my opinion, if it really was too steep for the searchers to get down, how on earth would 5'4" Richard Allen get two girls of the same size as him down that hill, keeping control of them, when, you know, and keep them completely silent? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Oh dear. So it's unraveling. The investigation is just unraveling, but it's how much impact this is having on the jury. You know, looking at crime scene photos that are so brutal, they have to be shown. However, it's always bad for the defendant, because some jurors will think, well, they arrested this guy and someone has to pay for it, he must be it. And they don't think through. Now, the jury are asking intelligent questions, like thoughtful questions, but I don't know. I don't know how much is hitting home with the jury. And we've got a long time to go yet in this trial. So, yeah, I was shocked. Shocked. All right, I'm going to go. I said this was going to be mega brief because I've got stuff to do. So at 1:45 p.m. my time, which is 8:45 Eastern, over on Michelle Walks for Sarah Boone. And then I'm going to go live on Michelle After Dark, this channel, with Leilani Simon as soon as the court goes live. The judge is planning to start at 9:30. Because there's that half-hour delay, that's 10 a.m. for us to see the live stream, because we're always half hour behind. That's going to be 10 a.m. Eastern, which will be 3 p.m. my time. So around that time, I will go live on Michelle After Dark, and it's going to be another long day. And in the breaks at lunchtime, I'm going to be doing Delphi updates, and I'm going to be doing whatever else people want to talk about in those breaks. All right, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.